The moment he read the asset seizure notice taped to the door, his phone slipped from his hand and shattered on the floor. 5 minutes later, the only thing he could say on the phone was, "For God's sake, what have you done?" A far cry from the last message he'd sent me. "You're overreacting again." The overreacting was me questioning the disappearance of 80,000 reais my mother had left me as an inheritance, which he'd secretly squandered. So I gave him a real overreaction. An official asset seizure notice taped to our apartment door. But he hadn't yet read the second page of the document, which was the truly devastating part. Let me tell you how it all started. We had been together for 4 years. From the outside, we were the perfect couple. But on the inside, the dynamic was clear and unbalanced. I was the planner, the one who sacrificed today for a better tomorrow, the one who saved every penny. He was the opposite. The master of "you only live once," the guy who believed things would just work themselves out. I thought this was balance, that my responsibility complemented his easygoing nature. Today, I see the truth. I wasn't complimenting him. I was funding him. I was financing his carefree attitude, his irresponsibility, the dreams he had, but that I was the one paying for. Everything truly changed 2 years ago, when my mother passed away. She fought cancer, with a strength I've never seen in anyone. Before she left me $50,000. It wasn't a fortune, but it was everything she had. And in her will, there was a sentence I will never forget. For my daughter to have her own roof over her head, her security, so that she never has to depend on anyone for a place to call home. When we used that money for the down payment on our condo, I read that sentence to him. We both cried. Holding my hand, his eyes filled with tears, he swore he would honor my mother's sacrifice. The deal was simple and fair. I would give my mother's $50,000 for the down payment, and he, with his higher salary, would pay the monthly mortgage payments. His name would be on the deed along with mine, as a symbol of our union, of our future family. He swore to protect that gift, that place, as if it were sacred, and I believed him. The first sign that something was wrong came 6 months later. It was subtle, almost invisible. A notification from my banking app. "Your mortgage payment is overdue." My heart sank. I sent him a screenshot, asking what had happened. His reply came in seconds, full of calm assurance. "Babe, relax. It must be a system error with the bank. I already paid it. Don't worry." I breathed a sigh of relief and believed him. What a fatal mistake. If I had known then what I was about to discover, I would have acted in that very instant. From that point on, the signs began to pile up, each one heavier than the last. First, it was the overtime at work. Suddenly, he needed to stay late 3-4 times a week. At first, I was proud. I thought he was working hard for us, for our future. But as time went on, the extra money from those hours never appeared in our account, never provided any relief from our expenses. When I asked, the answer was always the same. "My boss hasn't paid it out yet, babe. Things are complicated at the office." Then, the phone calls started. Unknown numbers from different states calling my cell. When I'd answer, a voice from a call center would ask for him. If I said he wasn't available, they'd just hang up. They were debt collectors. I could feel it, but I didn't want to admit it. He said it was a mistake, that they had the wrong number. He was so convincing that I felt guilty for doubting him. I felt like the crazy, controlling one. But I still hadn't seen the worst of it. The final straw, the moment my suspicion turned into a bitter certainty, happened on a Tuesday night. He came home late, tired, and dropped his wallet on the car floor when we stopped at the pharmacy. A credit card fell out, one I had never seen before. When he went inside, my hand was shaking, but I picked it up. I opened that bank's app, which luckily I also used, and entered the card details to view the statement. And there it was. Not one, not two, but 15 transactions totaling over $2,000 on an online gambling site, an addiction he had sworn to me he had overcome before we met. When I confronted him in the car, showing him the statement on my phone, his world didn't fall apart. Mine did. He didn't apologize. He didn't explain. He exploded. He screamed that I was invading his privacy, that I didn't trust him, that I was sick and controlling. And then he used the phrase that would become his sentence, "You're overreacting, it's just a hobby to unwind. You turn everything into a hurricane." If you're feeling the anger in this story, now is a good time to hit like and subscribe, because the justice that's coming is even more satisfying. And that's when it all came crashing down. But not in the way he expected. The final discovery didn't come from an app or a phone call. It came in a brown envelope with the Homeowner Association's seal. It arrived on a Wednesday afternoon. I was working from home and went down to get the mail. I thought it was just the usual monthly bill. It wasn't. It was a formal notice. 3 months of HOA fees were unpaid. 3 months. The notice was cold, legalistic. It stated that if the debt wasn't settled within 72 hours, they would place a lien on our property. My blood ran cold. My legs felt weak. I sat down on the steps of the building's staircase, the paper trembling in my hand. My mother's money, her sacrifice, the security she wanted for me, all of it about to be swallowed by interest, fees, and shame. In that moment, I didn't feel sadness. I didn't feel the urge to cry. What rose in my throat was a pure, cold, crystalline rage, the rage of someone who has been betrayed in the deepest way possible. I went back up to the condo, picked up the phone, and called the management company. The voice on the other end confirmed everything. 3 payments, over $700 in debt. Then I took a deep breath and called the bank, speaking to the loan officer who handled our mortgage. I asked for a statement. His voice turned serious. The mortgage payments were also overdue. The same 3 months. He had paid absolutely nothing for the last 90 days. In that exact second, as I listened to the officer detail the debt, something inside me just shut off. It was like a circuit breaker flipping, cutting off all emotional power. The love, the partnership, the hope, it all vanished. In its place was a void filled with absolute clarity and a will of steel. I looked at the photo of my mother on the living room shelf, the only thing I brought from her old apartment. I looked into her eyes and made a silent promise. He will not dishonor you. He will not destroy your final gift. He was at work, probably laughing with his colleagues, thinking I was at home, silently overreacting. He had no idea what was about to happen. The next day, I didn't say a word. I woke up, made coffee, said good morning as if nothing had happened. He left for work, whistling, relieved that I had gotten over the drama. The moment the door closed, my battle plan began. My revenge wouldn't be with screams or arguments. It would be with paper, a pen, and the power of the law. I spent the entire morning assembling my fortress of documents. I printed my mother's will. I found the proof of the $50,000 wire transfer from her account to mine, and from mine to the developer. I pulled out the condo's purchase agreement, where my name appeared alongside his. I gathered the collection notices, the photos I had taken of his credit card statements. Every piece of paper was a piece of the armor I was building. With the folder of documents in hand, I called the lawyer my friend had recommended. The best in real estate and family law in the city, she'd said. I got an emergency consultation for that afternoon. I sat across from him, a serious man in his 50s, and spread the papers across his desk. I told him the story. No tears, no drama, just the facts. The inheritance, the promise, the lies, the debts, the humiliation of "you're overreacting." He listened in silence, analyzing each document. When I finished, he gathered the papers, squared them up perfectly, and looked me in the eyes. "Inheritance money," he said, "is considered separate property. It does not get divided in a common law separation. You have proof that you used these funds exclusively for the down payment." He failed to uphold his end of the agreement, which was the monthly payments. He is in breach of contract. We aren't just going to separate assets. We are going to execute his debt to you. That's when he laid out the plan. The car. He had bought a luxury car the year before, a black sedan he loved more than anything. It was paid off and in his name. The lawyer explained that we could file an action for execution, using the car as collateral to cover the debt he owed me, the payments he missed, and the risk he put my investment in. I signed the power of attorney on the spot, with a single instruction: recover the assets that are rightfully mine. Use all necessary legal means. As I was signing the petition, my phone buzzed. It was him, sending me a funny meme. I saw it and didn't reply. A week went by. A week of torturous silence for him, and strategic peace for me. He tried everything. He sent flowers, asked me to dinner. "You're being quiet, babe. Are you over your drama? Feeling calmer now?" The night before the seizure, he called, and I answered in the calmest voice I could manage. I'm at peace. He had no idea the peace was all mine. The chaos was about to erupt in his life. The court officer arrived promptly at 8 in the morning. I had already left for work, but I asked my neighbor, an elderly woman who had seen him treat me poorly a few times, to tell me everything. She said he answered the door in his pajamas, looking sleepy. The officer, a large, serious man, didn't say much. He just handed him the court order and taped the notice of property seizure to the door. His call came 5 minutes later. I was at my desk, sipping my first coffee of the day. I answered on the first ring. His voice was unrecognizable. It wasn't the arrogant, self-assured man. It was a scared kid stammering. What? What did you do? There's a court officer here. They're going to take my car. My car. I took a sip of my coffee. The calm I felt was almost chilling. I didn't do anything, I replied, my voice steady. Your irresponsibility did. You used my mother's last gift as your personal ATM. The justice system, in turn, is using your ego as payment. You weren't overreacting when you bought that car, were you? So please, don't tell me I'm overreacting by taking it as payment for your debt. There was silence on the other end of the line. I could hear him struggling to breathe. But we can talk about this. We can work it out. I'll pay you. No, I cut him off without mercy. The time for talking ended the exact moment you looked me in the face and called me crazy for worrying about the future you were destroying. Now, it's time for consequences. Enjoy your walk to work. I hung up, and for the first time in a very long time, I felt the weight of the world lift from my shoulders. I blocked his number on everything. Today, a year has passed. The legal process was faster than I imagined. The condo is 100% in my name, free and clear. That car he loved so much was auctioned off. The money covered all the HOA debt, the missed mortgage payments, and the lawyer's fees. The judge ordered that the remaining amount be deposited into my account as restitution. I sleep peacefully every night, in the house that my mother, from wherever she is, helped me protect. Him? I heard he's renting a small place, sold his expensive watch to pay off gambling debts, and now takes the bus. Today, I know that when someone accuses you of overreacting, it's often because the truth you're pointing out is deeply inconvenient to the comfortable lie they're living. Respecting yourself is not an overreaction. It's the bare minimum. I know this story might hit home for many of you. Have you ever been made to feel like you were the one overreacting when you were just standing up for what was right? Let me know your story or one you know of in the comments below. Let's open up a dialogue about this. And if you want to keep seeing justice served, hit that like button and make sure you're subscribed. I'll see you in the next story.